Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, welcome to the NHIGH-cast.
What was that for? Why did you do that?
It's similar to like the Quarter Crew sometimes they do the Quarter Cast.
I see.
And now we're doing something like that.
No, I get it. Welcome to the Corridor Cast.
Welcome to the Corridor Cast. And now we are taking their idea and doing something.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, since we're so inspired by it, then we might as well, do that too.
Yep.
Here.
Things are looking a little different in the studio.
Yeah.
Mark's done another redesign, I think. This time a little. Mark's done a little more overt redesign of the system.
There's something similar going on to like in the track world that there's going on with Quarter Crew.
Yeah.
Now. Oh.
Alright. So anyways, welcome back to the NHIGH-cast, episode 5, I think?
I think something.
Yeah, you guys may
probably know better than I do.
I don't know if you've noticed or not, but, you know, look. Would the Antichrist have a beard? I don't think so. I think the Julian, who is real, would not have a fake beard, and would actually be able to grow a real beard, right?
Oh. Wait. Oh no. You do have a beard, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Like a real human.
Well, does that mean you're me?
No, I am Julian.
I feel like we had said at some point that if someone has a beard, it's definitely me.
No,
so I don't know.
No.
It seems like me.
I am Julian.
I mean, for some people watching, and me as well, it seems like there are two people who are the exact same person. One on the left side and one on the right side.
This is the real, genuine human article. Julian Ward.
That's what you would want us to think.
You.
That's what I would want me to think, and you, everyone outside to think, is that we were two different people. But we aren't really, right?
I am my own man. Julian Ward.
You keep saying that, yeah.
Real human being. Born of man.
Born as human.
Born of humankind. Less than 30 years ago.
What did you say about 30 years ago?
Less than 30 years ago.
Oh, less than 30. Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I don't think you're 30 years old. That's
On
just what I thought you were trying to apply at first.
On the night of the fall... on the night of the harvest moon. On the night of the harvest moon.
Right.
Like a human being.
So you're telling me that you actually have this beard so that we can kind of like sort of think that maybe you aren't actually an Antichrist? Like you've done some sort of weird magic, and now that you somehow have grown a beard, it seems like maybe you are a goodly creature? A supposedly real human being?
I am a real human being. I do not know what you mean.
You know?
My brother, why do you doubt me so?
It is the beard on your face that makes me doubt your face.
But I am a human being. A human being to a beard. So why should you doubt me? I have always had a beard on my face.
Because you are human. That's why.
I am a human being.
And humans
we are
have
twins.
beards. But for some reason, you should not have one.
We are twins. We were born on the same...
We are the same human being.
We are the same...
Pretending to be two different ones.
We were born on the same day, at the same time. I mean...
Just like the same person would be.
No. This can't be true. I meant slightly different times. It wasn't screwing up or anything. I'm totally Julian Ward, real human being, and not Isaac from the past coming to the back time to say something or something like that, you know?
So you're from the future then?
No, I'm
not from the past.
I am from the present. I am a real human being. Julian Ward. I've always been here. And I've always been waiting.
Curious. Alright, well, you know, we'll keep an eye on you and see what happens in the days to come.
Why are you so ominous about me, a real human being?
Can you sound, the way you even talk sounds very ominous, so it's kind of hard for me to, like, trust you.
I talk like a real human being. Julian Ward.
I promise.
I promise.
You don't have the music today. Prepare for that. But maybe in post there will be something. I mean, real.
Real human
something
being.
real happening. Something.
Wow.
I mean, this is real. What do you mean in post?
Maybe you are not the real human being. You are the one with the knowledge of the times and the abilities of the fourth wall.
I'm like a.
Are you a fourth dimensional being, Isaac? If that is your real name.
Well, I can't tell you that because that would be confidential information. Right?
I think
that
you're
right?
right, though. I am the real human being here. I am the real human being. And you are a fake. A fakey fake fake. The fake is faker in all the fakeness in all the lands.
Would a fake human being have a D&D character named Human?
Yes. Of course
I was
they
gonna
would.
say, whenever I said that, I was like, man, that sounds kind of like you're trying too hard a little sometimes for some people.
But a real human being would have
Yeah.
a character called
If I did do that, so it's very specific to me.
yeah.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
now I have all these doubts
That's right.
about myself.
That's right.
Am I
But a fake human
not
being.
a normal human being?
I think a fake human being would probably have a character called Steely Dan.
that sounds like a human being.
Sounds like something a fake person would do, and not a real human being person living in the moment. Someone who has only knowledge of the past and is an ancient entity from then.
Because they would only get that joke.
They only would get that joke. No one else.
Yeah.
No one else would get the joke, no matter how many times you play Steely Dan songs. The bar rogue that you
You're
were
like, I mean, even our brother didn't get that.
Yeah. I mean, I got it, but
I mean, I didn't get it. He's like a little older than us, but
I mean, I didn't get it because I'm a real human being.
But I mean, I don't know, I thought the songs I was choosing, at least some of them were. I think some of them maybe were not as apparent, but like were more apparently those songs.
Yeah.
Because he would have heard them on the radio. Maybe he doesn't know that name association as well.
Right.
Because I thought maybe he would.
Maybe not.
I don't know. But they did explain it to him at some point, so, you know, hopefully that's clear enough. Maybe he forgot about it since then, you know, because he does all the D&D stuff, and he has his life and stuff, so he's probably not constantly thinking about it.
Right.
Unless he does remember those few details. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
He
can't speak for him.
is living the real human being life.
Right. Unlike us.
I do not like what you're saying here. Well, you're besmirching my honor.
Would a real normal human being be pretending to be themselves 2 times? But
A
then
snack of honor
pretend to
both.
be the same person?
A
In actuality?
snack of honor both.
Would a real person smack themselves?
That's
Obviously so.
That's a paradox. It's impossible to do, and I'm a real human being.
But it's not a paradox
Julian Ward.
because we live in like a world where we could be like, you know, we could be someone in post could fix it.
That makes no sense.
Make it to where we have
We are
both of
living
us
in the real
as same
human
person.
being life. Like a real human being does. We live in real life and existence. And everything happening on the screen right now is actually happening in real life. Like a real human person living a real human life.
Man, that sounds really suspicious, Joy.
Anyway, let's move on to something else.
Like what?
Because I don't trust you, but I don't know for certain what's going on here.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just go play guitar on my own.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to the NHIGH-cast.
Oh, no, wait.
This is a single person podcast. Julian Ward.
Hi.
I know you guys are big fans of my work, and all the work on the channel is only mine. I know that you guys are big fans of.
I forgot about my contract.
Who is this?
I forgot about my contract.
Who are you?
This happened last time I tried to leave.
Get out!
You know, I'm contractually obligated to stay, and I was trying to leave before, and it didn't work because I had to leave.
It was better without you. Just leave. I'm not going to sue you.
Well, maybe you can leave. Maybe you can leave.
You leave.
Maybe you can leave.
No, it's worse with just you there. It's me. It's me all about me.
Well, if you want it to be about you, you can just go and make your own podcast.
We have like the audience here. We have like an audience, and it's gonna take me a lot of time. So this is my audience, and this is my podcast. You get out of here right now. You get out.
Okay, but I'm going to come back because I'm contractually obligated to do it. Legally. Or else I might die or something. Okay.
Anywho, time to get back to the NHIGH-cast. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there are very interested in our most recent riddles and rhyming rogues randomness on our most recent animation and how we kind of went through a couple different stylistic concepts, to try to get to that point. Well, what you doing, Isaac? Get back here. I think I hear something. Something worse. Evil. I hear evil music played by a non-real fake person. Oh, do you want to come here and challenge me? I left before, but now I'm back again. Oh no, I will not hand over this podcast to you, foul demon.
Are you within the camera frame?
I don't know, foul demon. You evil person. You evil demon. Playing chord trying to get them on your side. But I know how it actually is. You're just a fake. A phony. I am the real deal. The real human being. The Julian Ward who exists in this moment. Living the life of a person. Who are you? To be so fake and not real.
I am Senior Isaac.
Oh dear, guitar player.
Guitar. Okay. Anyway, I have to come back for my contract. For my contract.
I can't believe he just left after all that hype. He just ran away again.
I was one podcast back.
No, he's so lame. All hype and no action.
Contract. I have to come back because of my contract.
You just missed Senior Olay.
I signed the contract with blood. And now I have to live by my contract daily life.
Yeah.
Every day.
Like a real
I'm back.
Like a real human being does. You sign it in blood. Blood pact. For the blood god. I mean human beings.
I feel like you're accidentally revealing too much information about yourself.
I'm just joking, Isaac. I am just memeing.
You're just memeing. I'm just a simple memer over here. Nothing too insidious going on. I promise. I promise. Ooh.
Didn't you want them to think you were a human being?
I am a human. I'm pretending to be you.
I'm the dearest brother.
Who's not a human.
Who's also a human being. So, dear stranger, how has your day been?
So, it wasn't the worst day. How was your day, dearest brother?
This was an okay day. It's a little hot outside, but...
That's true. It's a lot warmer today than it has been lately.
Yeah.
Recently, because it's been a little nicer out lately.
Mm-hmm.
We could go outside, it was a little cooler. Mm-hmm. But now it's all warmer again.
Now it's all warm and disgusting.
Yeah.
It's evil outside.
Yes.
Satanic even.
Yes. Well, that seems like you should like it.
No, I'm a real human person.
Would a real human talk that way?
I'm talking like a real human. I am the real human.
Like what you did before, though.
No, I'm talking like
I can't even do it because I won't even do it because I wouldn't be able to do a proper imitation because I'm a human.
I've always spoken this way, Isaac.
You know what he did. You guys saw it.
What?
You saw. You heard.
Wow.
It's on the recording. It's on the podcast. You can go back and check it out. You know who he is. You know what he's doing. You know what he's hiding.
What do you mean?
He's hiding the fact that we haven't begun this episode of the podcast yet.
Well, that's true. We still haven't done that.
And that we need to talk about the main topic of discussion today, which is a video we made recently called Riddles and Rhymes. And I think
it kind of is.
Well, what is it more about in your mind?
The title of it actually, one of us speaks in.
Oh, I'm wrong.
The other speaks in rhymes.
You're right. It's a little. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, it was inspired by the podcast with Markiplier and the friends on the Directable Casts.
One of us speaks in riddles and one of us speaks in rhymes. And
Yeah.
the episode was called Riddles and Rhymes, or was that
Riddles and
called
Rhymes.
Sure.
Sure, it's called.
Because I guess the general idea behind it was they were saying, I think Mark said in an episode or something like randomly one point that one of us speaks in riddles and one of us speaks in rhymes, and then that came a bit in that episode, which Mark, I think Bob didn't like, and then like later on they were like doing an episode where they were like taunting Bob with that stuff, but it ended up kind of like sort of like especially kind of like it ended up being kind of like harder on Mark because he was just using ChatGPT and had problems with it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it's pretty funny.
Yeah. That might be the best thing they've ever done.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully that doesn't upset them.
Well, they questioned on the episode too, so that's just a reference to what they're saying as well. Obviously, in the episode, they were questioning that as well. They were like, "Is it the best thing or is it the worst?"
Oh, that's right. They did say that. That's right. Yeah.
It's almost like
We did say that. I think
it's almost like I'm making a normal human reference.
it's almost like
Good
you
fun.
know stuff about humans or something. Like you've studied really hard for something.
I never let the mask off. I mean, yes, human person.
Yeah. All right. So, I guess I'm trying to think of how to. Okay, so I'm trying to think of how to like explain where this kind of began at, because did it start with like the corridor crew stuff, or did it start with the? I mean, I guess we already kind of could say something about how we started with riddles and rhymes. We'll just start from there because we're already there. So that was kind of like we had heard that episode and we thought the idea was kind of funny, and so the idea was to kind of have it somewhere in the video, right?
Yeah.
And I think Julian mainly was the guy who was thinking kind of that stuff, right? Did you talk about that any? Even though I did technically write some of the words and stuff.
Well, something that kind of was interesting to me was I kind of like the idea of like what if like the riddle person could kind of like communicate a little bit more than just saying the riddle part. But
Right,
like
yeah.
every time they were asked a question, they had to answer in a riddle,
Right.
and then it'd be like, oh, you know, instead of saying yes, you'd be like, you try to infer what yes would be with the riddle, and so it's kind of like what we end up doing. We're trying to do at least. You know, you guys can watch it and let us know if we actually succeeded or not. But yes, there's like a beholder of riddles and a beholder of rhymes.
Right.
There's a yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember us like actually having like talking kind of like about how it kind of like had been funnier or kind of could have been funny if like in the Retractable episode if Wade was more limited in things he could say.
Yeah.
Because the whole bit is like one of us speaks in riddles and one of us speaks in rhymes.
Yeah.
And which technically doesn't mean you only speak that way, but it seemed like the interpretation was Mark would only speak in rhymes, so that Wade was supposed to just speak riddles, but he also is allowed to explain other things for some reason that aren't in riddles necessarily. So yeah, it could have been interesting if he was also like limited to the riddles as well.
Yeah, like maybe Wade could be like, instead of saying answering like yes, he might be like, what is the opposite of no? Or something like, ooh,
Right,
what's that band from the 70s that has great hits like, it's a lonely heart. Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that may have worked. I'm
May
not
have
sure.
worked.
Maybe Bob would know that.
Maybe Bob would.
Yes.
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 Yeah. Yeah. So we just thought that'd be kind of like a funny little thing to play around with in the script, and so we did that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Right. And that was just, but mainly that was just like an ending bit. So there was other things happening before that.
Yeah, there was like a big lead up into that.
But I think you were kind of like writing the words and stuff, and there was this kind of because I think for some reason we had decided at some point it would be beholders, right?
Yeah, that's
It
right.
would be like a D&D kind of thing. But I don't remember
Yeah,
why we
right.
chose beholders, because I know that there's like puns and stuff in the words and stuff that you'd written originally, like because like there was this whole like beholders and then like people who hold bees, and like somebody who has like a beholder from like D&D or whatever, or like I mean that's where we mainly know it from.
Yeah.
There might be from other things as well, but like a beholder or a beholder, I guess you could call it either thing,
Yeah.
but a beholder. I guess the thing was there were like puns between like beholder and beholder, as in like somebody who holds bees.
Yeah.
And I think that was like something you were kind of initially doing in the script. I don't know if that was just like because you were like thought of that pun and then that's why they became beholders, or if it was like
I think more or less actually it came out of the fact that we just had the beholders and we were like, ooh, it's kind of funny fun from that. Because I think, the beholder thing, because
Yeah.
I think basically it was just like, what's like a D&D kind of
Sure.
I don't know, I think initially it was like, I kind of want to make a story centered around kind of like a D&D kind of concept.
right, yeah,
So
right.
we kind of play around with some cool stylistic things.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we were thinking. I guess there were a lot of things we were trying to kind of be inspired by, or trying to kind of reference and stuff, and that was part of it. Was kind of like a general kind of like D&D kind of thing, but sort of loose in some ways. But which is why there was. There was.
There are no roles.
I mean, I guess most of that stuff that happened in there could probably happen in a D&D campaign.
You could probably interpret it as having roles and then
Yeah.
seeing where things go,
Right? Yeah.
if you so wish.
Yeah. Probably so. DD5e. And we're mainly used to 5e, so you know.
Yeah.
We probably aren't gonna like make any kind of like accidental references to our things aside from that. So
Yeah.
as far as we know.
As far as we know.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, then that became like the beholder thing. But I think it was kind of like your main idea. I think it was mainly your kind of joke and stuff because you were like writing before I started adding stuff on later. I think you were mainly writing the script and kind of planning out the design of it.
Yeah. Like initially they were called like the beholder of like rhymes and the beholder of riddles because of like a funny concept. Something about it just feels funny to me. But by the end of the story, we're like, okay, we're going to give them actual names because we have to kind of like humanize them a little bit. And it kind of like just became part of the joke and also kind of part of the story as well.
I think the first happened whenever I kind of was just like trying to think of. I think I was making up like I was the rhyming one, so I was like making up a rhyme, I think.
Yeah.
And then I ended up using the name Jordy for your character.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I think later come on, you kind of made up a character name for me.
Yeah.
And it was Larry.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Jordy and Larry.
That's right.
The beholders. Beholders.
Yeah.
I wonder like how many people out there are going to be like, wait, what? Beholders? Beholders?
Yeah.
But because of that, that actually was the reason why the one of rhymes, Larry. No, I'm Larry. Yes, that's right. I said the right thing.
That's right.
Sorry. The one of rhymes named Larry had like a. Well, I don't know if this is apparently obvious, but he has a kind of hat, and it has this like sort of like metal mesh around it.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to kind of invoke the bee like a. I'm trying to think of. Is that called a beholder? That's probably
it's
like
supposed to be like a beekeeper.
What are the people? Yeah, I was gonna say there's a term for that. It's beekeeper.
Yeah.
It's mainly the main one we know, beekeeper. Right. And so that's what we were trying to kind of imply there a little, as well as having like bee sounds and stuff. But at first that wasn't really the bee sounds weren't really part of the plan. They kind of just evolved because Julian had written those initial things. And it was like, well, we actually could just have like bees here as well because he's like a beholder.
Yeah, that's right.
So it could actually just be like, oh, you know, he's both things at once basically. I think kind of the general idea behind
it. One and the same.
Yeah, he's a beholder and a beholder.
Yes. But Jordy's not that way. He's got tough hats on.
Yeah.
He got tough hats and a face.
Nothing but tough hats.
Just tough hats all over the place.
That's right.
Yeah. He's fancy.
Yeah.
He's not a beholder. He's a little.
Right. But then
he's not a beekeeper.
Right. And but then Larry ended up having a bunch of different gloves, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I guess we can try to think of like where to like kind of we can come back to some of those things I guess in a minute.
But just sort of kind of like where we began at aesthetically and kind of artistically,
right?
Like systemically from there.
Okay, sure.
So we probably should start with like rock paper scissors.
Do we? Okay, yeah. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So one of the things that this video is actually supposed to be a little bit different. It was initially supposed to be done entirely with like stable diffusion and like the thing like the choreographer did with anime rock paper scissors was what they called it. And we were planning on doing something like that with like the stable diffusion and dream booth. And we were we were like we were like doing a lot of research about that and like hearing lots of different kinds of things about ways to do stuff like that. And I think I remember I was doing that research, but I was like at a point where it's like, well, we probably just need to look at the video, right? Tutorial, even though I've been listening to lots of this stuff about stuff.
Right.
I was trying to like find ways to do it without having to like pay the fee to
Yeah.
But it turned out they had like a free trial, so it was fine anyway. And actually, the fee that they have for like the monthly isn't too bad as far as like memberships go. I can't remember the number now, but it was pretty low. If anyone's interested out there, but you also get a free trial first.
Yeah.
So we did that first. We did that, and then we ended up looking at it, and it turned out we were having like problems with it because we had actually already by this point we had already filmed our like scenes that we were going to be using for modeling, right?
Right. Yeah.
And we were so at this point we had filmed me and Julian on like a green screen already. And it was not only that, we'd already cropped our shots too.
Yeah, it was widescreen.
And
we saw in like the anime rock paper scissors, and also in their video about it, a lot of widescreen shots using green screen.
Right.
And we were thinking, oh, cool, we can just do the same kind of a thing that we did before with kind of our Ebsynth video that we did, like our very first video way back in the day. If you guys want to go look at that you can. It's done Ebsynth, and you can just do the widescreen. It's fine, easy. But to our chagrin, it turns out that actually you have to have square shots. Yeah,
that's right. And we would have to, not only that, but they would I think they would take two shots of their different characters and put them like in the same scene after that.
Yeah.
Which we had like our characters together overlapping already, and so that was kind of like a problem as well. As to the fact that our I'm trying to think what it's called, resolution was wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
And we could have done that, but it would have been like more work, or maybe we would have had to refilm something, and we didn't want to do that necessarily.
Yeah, I would have super recommended, like, if we had known, we didn't know, of course, I would have probably like watched it first, and I would probably recommend you guys do that if you want to do something similar. Like, go and watch the Corridor Crew's like Stable Diffusion video at first. There might be some things different now from that, but you should just kind of get to know the general basics of it if you're going to try to use that program. Because we wouldn't have done things like we did. You know, we would not have done things particularly. We would have also kind of like learned about how many style shots we would need as well. Because even though we drew many style shots, I thought, you know, we didn't really have quite as many as we would need.
But I think some tutorials didn't really say that you needed it. I think they used more than like some tutorials had, as far as like dream booths and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, so we kind of like had like it seemed like we didn't have maybe not enough pictures made or whatever. Right. And we were also like, I'm trying to think. We were also kind of like trying to have more detail in our shots.
That's right.
So, because we were like, that's what kind of like one of the things we thought was kind of interesting about the Corridor Crew video was that they had like it was like the way the how like lighting and stuff looked and how the visuals looked. Yeah. And we thought it had like a lot of detail as far as like animation, as far as like, you know, kind of like a drawn style goes. It seems to have a lot of like interesting details going on. Yeah. So we were trying to kind of do something a little like that, even though we ended up having to kind of like reduce that some in the end. And so where were we?
Stable Diffusion Dream Booth details in the shot.
So we're trying to do that, but we ended up having to kind of like cut back on that because we ended up having to do something else. Yeah. In the end, because we ended up. Did you already say we ended up having to do Ebsynth instead?
I did not say that.
Sure. We were doing Stable Diffusion, and we're looking into it, and we also were having some trouble with the Dream Booth and stuff like that. Like we had been. Well, I don't know. We were having lots of. I'm trying to think of explain everything because there's like a lot of details going on. But maybe I can come back to this in a minute.
We tried using the Dream Booth on our old computer. We downloaded it in the library and stuff. It didn't work.
We were using it on our old MacBooks, which are like I think 2016 MacBooks.
Yeah,
or something.
We were gifted fortunately by our aunt some brand new MacBooks, and that was really nice.
She'd been offering to get us them for a while, so we were lucky that this kind of worked out. Yeah, and then we were like. But then so part of the reason we did it was because we were like, okay, well, we could use that to kind of get Stable Diffusion to work and Dream Booth to work. Yeah. But then, like, after that happened, we still couldn't get it to work because we were having, like, problems because, like, I think we had, like, Dream Booth kind of working, but, no, I think we had, like, Stable Diffusion more or less working. Yeah. But we had, like, more problems with Dream Booth because of, well, we think it may have been because, like, most of the versions were out there. They were like in the Corridor Crew tutorial. It's like made for like it's made specifically for like Windows. I think. Well, it's not made for Windows, but it was made with Windows. We did so it works that way. And then we were like having some trouble getting it to work, and we were like asking people around, and we're like, you know, we're trying to figure out if it were examples of people like using MacBooks to do it. And we actually couldn't find any people doing it. I mean, actually, like, I think I can't remember the guy's name now.
Gramsci?
What?
Gramsci?
Was it? Huh?
I think his name is Gramsci.
Gramsci.
Am I wrong? Did we like ask the guy?
The guy we asked on YouTube?
I think so.
That's Gramsci?
That's so.
I don't know.
No, well, sorry.
I'm not really sure.
To be honest, if I didn't know.
I'm not really sure.
Anyway, you heard someone who was kind of involved in the early aspects of the project, and they were kind of like, you know,
it was like
running it on Mac, but they had never done it.
It was one of the people who was mentioned in the Dream Booth, in the Corridor Crew video tutorial where they were talking about different versions of Dream Booth that exist. Yeah. And it was one of those people that he mentioned. I thought they were like reaching out to him, but they were like asking if there was like examples of people using a Mac, or if they're like Mac versions. Right. And he said he didn't know, and he had to get back to us about it. And later he sent us a Mac version. Yeah. So it seems like there might be something like that happening. Yeah. But by the time we had done that, we hadn't actually. I think did we download the Mac version, or I don't know. By the time we did that, it was like we already decided to just do Ebsynth for this video and to maybe come back later to it later. Yeah. And we know that like the anime brought for his sisters too, which came out kind of more recently as well. We don't know everything about the way it was done, but we know it's like a little different as far as like the process. Yeah. Because they use things like ControlNet, and I think they use something called Warp Fusion, unless it's just Go to Fusion, but I think it was Warp Fusion. And what am I saying? Well, those are things that are kind of designed to make it a little easier to have more than one character in a shot time, right?
Well, isn't that what ControlNet does?
Yeah, I think
There's something else that's kind of like come up since then, but man, I feel like I'm getting like so, but man.
Well, it's fine. I was like, you don't like have to necessarily have all the details exactly right. I know if you want to, but you can also take a break and get something done if you want to.
Trying to remember what's going on. I don't know. Dude.
You can cut it if you need to.
I feel like I don't know. There was what were we talking about?
Okay, you're talking about Stable Diffusion, Warp Core, and ControlNet. ControlNet, we're talking about how it might be kind of like for people that have been there, and I don't really quite recall what it is.
I think Warp Fusion actually is something else.
Yeah.
Because it's not for like, I don't think it's for like getting multiple people on there. I think it's just for making it look a certain way.
Sure.
Or something.
There's a certain amount.
I might be wrong kind of right with that.
Oh yeah, I think that's right.
ControlNet was more for like getting like the positions and stuff. And I think they also can use ControlNet for multiple people on the screen. Yeah. But they also might just be doing that with like Eventually Resolve or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they did that. I think in the first one they did that by like putting them together that way. Mm-hmm. I actually don't think I don't know if ControlNet actually can make you. I think it does have the option to make you both on the screen. I don't know whether they did or did not use it that way. Right. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. But I do know the process is a little different this time, and there might be some differences, but we're not really sure exactly what they did yet.
Right.
But we might be looking at that at some point. But I guess the reason why I was saying that, is because we were kind of considering. We're thinking about like coming back to Stable Diffusion and just in the Dream Boost stuff, but it's possible that we actually may not do that because we're actually considering trying out something called Blender Grease Pencil.
Yeah,
and it might look similar to like a drawn thing, so we'll try that out. And it may be the case that at some point we come back to the Stable Diffusion stuff and that we kind of get more success with that. Yeah. But we ended up using Blender for this video because we had to we're really trying to figure out like what to do with like the beak holders, right? Because we were thinking like before, like we might just be like, I don't know, we weren't entirely sure if it's going to be Ebsynth because we ended up using Ebsynth for our drawn characters after we had problems with the VR stuff.
And we did also do the drawings for those in our Blender. Yeah, 2.8. We did. That's right. Using Grease Pencil.
So we initially got Blender 2.8. 2.8. I think it's 2.80 technically. And we did that whenever we were. The first time we got it was whenever we were making our very first video for our channel.
Yeah.
With the Ebsynth kind of thing, which is kind of like more or less inspired by Joel Haber.
Yeah.
Because we were like, looking at his videos and we were like thinking that was kind of interesting and we were like trying that out. Yeah. And we were having trouble. I think he had some software he was using, but we were like trying to kind of get it like free, and he had some software that wasn't free. Is that right?
Yeah, basically,
it may have been free, but I can't remember for sure. If it was like, we also had another problem, which is that our computers were old too.
We're more or less trying to do everything we can to do with as little cost to us and the project as we can.
Yeah.
We're trying to do what we can with what we have, and you know, what we can get.
And Blender is free, so that was like one reason why we did that. And so we downloaded that, and it was the most recent version we could download for those computers, which were our computers we were using until we got those more recent ones. And then we still use them, but not. But now we can also run a more recent version of Blender on our newer computers as well, which is what we're doing now, 3.6.1.
Now, for something kind of note about the Blender for 2.80 that we use on our older computers, there's like a little bit of an issue for some reason. I don't know if this like always works, but for us to kind of bounce things on our Blender, it always loses a little bit of quality. It gets a little darker. Or
it seems like there's like a color change
saturation
almost.
Like I have a sequence one time that I was doing for our initial like project, original animation. And in there, it was kind of like, oh wow, this image I'm seeing looked really faint. I can't really see the first person I've been putting here now. Like it really like depreciate quite a bit over time.
Yeah.
But it was close enough for us to use for the animation. But it was kind of difficult to try and use something like that for a real life action thing.
I think for our keyframes though, we ended up using screenshots, right?
Yeah, we use screenshots and we make sure that
we had to crop them in and make sure they had like the right positioning and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Instead of using like the keyframes, it's possible that's still a problem with this Blender. We don't know really actually at this point.
We haven't tried bouncing something out.
Yeah, we haven't tried doing that kind of thing.
Oh wait, no, we actually did.
We haven't like compared it though.
We haven't compared it, but we did actually bounce sequences.
We did. Yeah, we rendered animations. We haven't like bounced or whatever rendered sequences. We have rendered images, but we haven't like bounced them out because that might look different.
I rendered some images just for testing reasons because I was just trying to do it when I was trying to kind of like learn some stuff about Blender.
Didn't we literally make animations
Well, yeah, but
using images?
we didn't like look closely whether it was different or not.
Well, that's fair enough. But
I don't really remember doing that at least.
sure.
You know?
And we didn't do it that. We didn't have to like bounce it out that many times, so that also would not have led to a major depreciation, perhaps.
Maybe so. Maybe
Also, it may just be fine.
Could be something with the mode, or maybe I don't know. Maybe something else is going on where like
something else kind of is like a lot of versions of Blender have a lot of different features in them, so that could also be a thing.
It's also possible to be like a setting in Blender that you just change and then it fixes that, but we don't. I mean, we didn't find any information like that where we were like looking it up, but like whenever I was using Blender or was starting to like get into it more, sometimes you do stuff and it's like, oh no, I did something, and you have to like look it up online and be like, how do you solve this? And sometimes there are multiple answers, and then some of them aren't the right one, and some of them are the right one.
Yeah.
And different versions have different answers sometimes, even though they kind of look similar. There's like a similar kind of like style about Blender each time, because but technically I think you can change the aesthetic of it, but there are like similar. Like apparently, it kind of looks like almost the same on the surface if you don't know that it's secretly different, or like there might be some differences for like certain layouts and stuff. So if you're like learning Blender, it might be best to try to find something that might be more recent, because it's more likely that somebody might be using something more in line with what you're using. But it's also possible that something can work even if you have something older. I think it might depend on what you're trying to do. Like I was like, an example of this was that I was trying to follow a Joey Carlino head rig, mouth rig video, and it ended up being kind of like the mouth rig we ended up using for our beholders whenever I was like but whenever I was doing it, like I was like having to do certain parts of it, I was having to like find little different things and had to. Sometimes I was like doing check marks on things that weren't there in his, or things that were like slightly different, and sometimes I would just like have to try to finagle around with the settings until it would work. And it would be exactly the same. Though I thought like the mouth rig stuff itself, I think was more or less the same. Even though some other parts weren't the same, I think, if I remember right. So yeah, it might depend on what you're doing. So sometimes things work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
So even though like you might be frustrated because something doesn't work or something, there still could be some value in like finding those things and finding the things that work in the version you have. So yeah, but ultimately I was like trying to like make I was trying to like make the models myself and Julian, or me mostly, but we were like, I was mainly like focused on like figuring that out, I guess, and Julian was mainly drawing keyframes at that point. Yeah, because I was like before that I was drawing like keyframes for the Ebsynth part, and it was taking me a long time to draw mine. Like, I don't know, 5 days or something for a keyframe. Yeah. At least like sometimes earlier on, but I think I could have done some later ones a little quicker. But also at some point after that we were like trying to kind of like simplify the style a little. Yeah. And so those were like quicker. Yeah. But it was taking me a while, and so at some point I was like, well, somebody's got to like focus on like trying to do the beholder thing, because we're planning on trying to use like Blender or something to design these. So I was like trying to do that more. Right. And but I was having a lot of trouble doing it, and then we ended up. At first, I think we were looking. Actually, before we even tried making the models, I think we tried to find some like stock models that were free to use. That's right. But we were having trouble doing it for some reason. But then in the end, that's ultimately what happened. Yep. But we do. I mean, there were things we had to attribute. Like, we put attributes in the bottom of the YouTube page, or in the YouTube description. I mean, of the video. So there's attributes there for there, and there's also attributes for like other assets we used, like how. Like the hats, for example, and the gloves. Yeah. So those are all things like that should be listed there, as well as like I think the teardrop we had. Yeah. We also got from somebody's page.
Make sure that you guys read your attribution licenses before you make any animations.
Yes.
Because we actually had our hands sort of with the model and had a gauntlet there. And it actually turned out the initial gauntlet that we did all the animations for first. We got all the animations done. Yeah. We got them all done. But then in the end, it's like, oh, the license here says no use for commercial work.
Well, the thing is that it was like attribute, right? Yeah. But then there was like some more text after that. Yeah. That happened for two. It happened for two of the gloves.
That's right.
But fortunately, it wasn't more.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't like the beholders or anything. Because at that point, it was like we had to like totally replace them.
That's right. Because I
had to go back and find some. We had to go back and find some gauntlets. I had to like find a gauntlet that was kind of similar.
The existential dread of thinking that everything you've done may not be able to be used. Start over.
Yeah.
The night before you were trying to upload it.
Right. And then I was able. Then we found another. Actually, I think we found another gauntlet and downloaded that. And then I used another one of the gloves, and then just that we'd already used, and then just changed the color and made it bigger. Yeah. For that one. So yeah. And but fortunately, because of the way Blender was working in that case, I was able to do that fairly quickly. And with the way I kind of more or less discovered how to kind of like parent the objects to the tentacles. I was able to do that kind of quickly.
Yeah.
So it didn't. I mean, we took us obviously a while still. We were still like up to like I don't know how long, 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yes.
Trying to finish the video, but like I mean, but you know, we were able to do it, and I still kind of was able to come across, and we weren't able to. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is we were able to kind of make it work.
Yeah.
Even though we had problems like that.
I feel like something we kind of learned a bit along here is like 3D animation. I would say is a little easier than 2D animation.
Oh, I should also say,
know.
sorry. I should also say, there's a difference between like CC0 and like I think it was CC4.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the thing was that you just need to make sure you look and see specifically what it says on it, because like sometimes you might find like I can't actually remember what the attribute was, because CC0
It's public domain.
is CC4 attribute.
I think so, but I'm not entirely.
But I actually think I can't remember the model. I can't remember the exact specific number that they all were, but most of them had a basic attribute thing where you could like do it commercially. But the problem was that there was like 2 of them that had like a very slightly different license, where if you went and followed it, it turned out that you weren't allowed to do it commercially. And since we think we might be kind of considered that legally speaking, we had to like change it. That's why we did that. Sorry, heading back.
Sorry. But I was going to say that I feel like in 3D animation there's a lot of cool stuff you can do that's pretty easy. Once you have like a motion, once you have a puppet, and once you have a rig set up, because you do need to get your rig set up first.
At least in Blender.
It does take time.
We're not really sure how other systems work, but Blender does that. And maybe other systems do that. It seems like maybe that would make sense, but I'm not really sure.
No.
I mean, Ivy does something like that in a way, because they have the keyframe animation thing.
Some people have things you can sort of download from places like Sketchfab.com, which is where we got all our stuff out.
Sketchfab?
Yeah. Some of the things we downloaded had bones in them, but we didn't like the aesthetic of them quite as much, so we just kind of went with the one that we liked the better aesthetic of, and we went with we generated our own kind of animation bone.
I actually think part of the reason we did that one was because it was the one that was the most apparently with the pack already.
Yeah, that's true, Joe.
Like a colored pack?
Yeah, sure.
But I think we could have, if I had known more about it, maybe we could have colored the other ones and been like, oh, this one's better, that one's better.
Yeah.
But I think it ended up working out fine. Anyway.
Yeah.
Though, I'm trying to remember. It also had like an animation already in it. That's kind of interesting because I already had the tentacles moving.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
That was also a plus too, I think.
There's animation.
There may have been other ones doing that, but I don't remember them doing that, at least to that degree. Though I might be wrong. I might be getting that wrong.
Yeah.
But we ended up using that, and we actually ended up using the data for that to like do variants upon that, and also to like. So sometimes we would make our own kind of animations and stuff, and keyframes and whatever, depending on the shot.
Yep.
And so we were a lot of time we were editing the information or making up new keyframes.
There's something kind of nice about being able to sort of copy and paste something that you've worked on and you feel like it looks pretty good and is meant to be kind of like the same kind of a thing, and then you kind of take the camera and you move it and you're kind of like, nice. Looks nice and smooth. You can like move the camera in 3D space in Blender, where just something, you know, if you're drawing, you just have to kind of figure it out, you know, on the fly. You know. And Ebsynth can do a lot of work for you there, but there's like a limit to it that's not quite there in Blender, you know. And Ebsynth is going to be like a lot of bleeding if you don't use really sort of carefully placed motions, you know, very close motions probably.
Although I guess for some people that might be considered like, you know, what's the term? Funny quirk.
Yeah.
Like a nice way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Like part of me almost like wonders if we keep working on like we're planning on like trying to mess around with the grease pencil, which kind of makes it look. That is, we're trying to make it look kind of like 2D, but it might be 3D. It's super early.
That's right.
And it might be. I don't know. Like I heard like some people talk about like how like when we're like talking about like the drawing version or like even like the old school animations, there'll still be like slight differences for like the drawing styles and like differences like would be like perfect. You know what I mean? Right. So it's possible like some people might look at it and be like, oh, this is way too smooth.
Way too smooth.
Or something.
Super smooth.
But I don't know yet.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's like gonna be a problem or not. It might be fine.
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. We don't really know. You know, it's like a new concept. We haven't explored that much, and yeah. I
think we could probably, if we wanted to do that, if we really felt like wanted to mess it up, we probably could do something to it. Yeah. But I don't know if we necessarily do or do not want to. Yeah. Or if we want to, I'm not sure if we necessarily need to feel like it's like exactly replicating the drawing style. It only looks like it's like that way enough, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not really sure yet. We're not really sure. What's gonna happen?
Something that we kind of used more this time to kind of clean up the Ebsynth sequences is masks, which we did not really use last time. So there's like a lot more of this kind of like line work outside of this kind of moving out. You know, if you look at our first animated feature, you'll see that the lines outside the body are kind of like a little less consistent than they are now, I would say.
because we kind of use this mask feature that's already in Ebsynth, but we didn't really use it before.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was like trying to follow what's happening.
We also did some stuff where it's like, man, there's like all these different adjustments you can do in Ebsynth and to make it like something. And we had like something that was like 4,000, 4,000, 8,000, but it turns out that's like way too much. Yeah, it turns out if you go to the website, you can just see the quote-unquote sort of ideal concepts there and then be like, all right, I'll just grab these numbers and then it worked pretty well for us. Mm-hmm. The mask thing was a little bit of a hassle because we didn't really find any kind of way, we did not find any like trials online about how you sort of can do it in such a way that we could do it.
Sure.
So we had to come up with a new way to do it. And basically what we did was, all of our scenes for this are green screened as well.
Yeah.
The first time we did animation, we just drew the background every time, like idiots. Like idiots.
But we didn't know we had the option for the green screen in iView. So we were like, well, let's draw it every time.
That's right.
We had to use something like the same basic one.
Yeah.
And then we would like just change it, I guess, a little.
Probably made the whole production time way longer than it
took us like, including all the learning and stuff we had to do for the first video. I think it took us 3 months to make.
That's right.
3 months.
If you can do it, use green screens.
Yeah.
If you're going to animate, you can probably animate a green screen background. Easier than drawing the same frame background with details every time.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to make sure it's perfect.
If you want to be, you could like also just sort of, if you want to do something like with, well, we had iMovie or like, you probably could have like software like this, but we could like, have like something where we have like a background and we're like, we can like move it around ourselves.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to like necessarily draw that if you want like kind of motion to happen.
Yeah.
Too.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I would certainly recommend green screening if you're doing something like this. But it also kind of allows you to do masking, which I don't know if you can do if you're doing like hand-drawn backgrounds in your keyframe style animations, you know? I think that's not really allowed. But essentially kind of how you do this...
I'm not sure.
I think it does not work for some reason.
Sure.
I think it's like the line work. I don't think it would work, but I also don't know. You guys can look it up yourself. But I'll explain kind of how we ended up actually getting the masks to work. And I think if I recall right, it's actually called a garbage mask, which is not what's called an Ebsynth.
It's also sometimes called a garbage mat, right?
Garbage mat, that's right.
Well, sometimes mask, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Sometimes mat.
We were first like, we were having in like Google like mask, and it's like a lot of stuff. It's like, well, what is this?
What is this garbage mask?
We just like found we kind of like accidentally found it, and it was like, oh, perfect. Yeah, that's right. And then it's kind of like, okay, what you kind of need to do then is have a thing where every single frame you have of animation, every single style frame you're trying to render, you have to have a base frame where you're doing the actual motion in real life. You have your body there, you have your green screen background, hopefully, in the basic one. I know you, okay, no. So basically the idea is this. In iMovie, you can add in a black background is one thing. And then you can green screen in the black background to your figure. And then you can turn your figure really white by messing around with the coloring. And you can also, if you need to, also put in a clip filter, like black and white, if you need to do that. There's a lot of ways you can do it. Because the idea is the background needs to be black, and then your character needs to be white, pure white. No details in the middle, just pure white. Because this is all about cleaning up the edges of your character. That's like the main idea. Some things in the middle might still get a little messy, but cleaning up the edges a lot helps you quite a bit. We did have to do cleaning up, but not as much as we did with the first one.
Yeah. There still was a lot of cleaning up in my shots, at least.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it probably was for you, too.
At some point, I started kind of like doing some shots with the intention of kind of making it messy at some points.
Yeah.
I sometimes do that to kind of have some fun with it, you know.
And some of the shots were just kind of like more automatically clean. But I think it was also because I was like, I was at a detail I was like, wait, you don't have to add that much. And then I was just like, okay, fine. And then it was like the drawing scene from like the back actually ended up looking like more or less pretty good.
Yeah.
But also may have just been because there wasn't a lot of movement going on.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward scene.
It's pretty much just kind of like yeah. There's not as much movement. Yeah, so there's other scenes with like the face and stuff.
We were kind of struggling a little bit with like iMovie and stuff, so we constantly like saving stuff, and iMovie was constantly failing. But we deleted a lot of files off our drive, and now it's working. But for a long time, we're kind of like, all right, every time we do something, we have to like make sure we save it and have it good. So basically, our walking to the mountain, you get shot.
You can't save an iMovie. Sorry, you can't save an iMovie.
You can't save an iMovie. We could
at least.
We could at the time.
Can you now?
Well, I can now because I deleted stuff. I think the problem was not having enough room, but also that might be wrong.
What? You can save an iMovie.
Now I can. Wait. Oh.
I thought iMovie functionally didn't do that.
No.
Wait a minute. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I'm wrong.
I really thought I was wrong.
I'm just going through it.
I was like, oh my god, did you somehow figure out how to save an iMovie?
There might be a more recent version than
Isaac's throwing haymakers at me.
We have a new computer, but we haven't been using the new one that much.
Isaac's being abusive. I do not appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, you can't save an iMovie.
Yeah.
But iMovie will save it for you if you know what I mean. But you can't actually save in it.
I think what we do is like a safeguard because we were having sometimes problems with it.
Right.
Because it was like sometimes we have like problems with iMovie where if we are doing a project, sometimes we come back and like things are destroyed or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess every time we were doing it, and this time it didn't really happen that much, I guess. But you would be like exporting, bouncing videos and of the current project we had, of the current result we had, in case we had nothing later.
Yeah. But anyways. Anywho, getting kind of back to the main point.
Yeah.
Which is like in our initial shot where we're kind of like walking up to the mountain. So all the shots where Isaac and I are actually in there, more or less, drawn in.
Mm-hmm.
In those shots, we actually already have cropped in things. We have like motion going in and out. We have things we crop in and cut. So basically those things were already pre-done before we even started animating in Ebsynth, which would give us trouble, because there's like more motion involved,
Right.
But for the back shot, it worked out pretty fine.
Yeah.
Even though there was a little bit of that, it wasn't a lot. But
also, I don't know if this helped us or not, but we ended up for the back shots, we ended up putting us both in there together.
Well, yeah.
Separately.
Yeah.
We had it separate and then put us back in.
Yeah, that's right.
Together.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't overlapping at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was better or worse, or if it was just because we were trying to like save time, have one of us draw one part, one of us draw the other part. It may not be necessary using Ebsynth.
No. If you guys are crossing over here, this bodies, it might be more difficult. But if you guys want to, you probably could like layer up a bunch of just individual shots of yourself drawn well. If you want to, with enough pre-planning, you guys could do enough layers in like iMovie. Have one shot with you in the green screen, put another one on top of that one, put another one on top of that one, put another one on top of that one, and just bounce it every time and do it again. Because for us, it seems like iMovie doesn't really seem to lose that much of the quality for us, at least. We haven't really noticed that.
Yeah, it seems to not lose that much of. It seems to not like. It seems every time we process it, it doesn't lose much.
Yeah. You need to kind of have enough kind of foresight and thought about kind of where you're at. If you want to do that. If you just want to be a bunch of random views in the shot, easy if you just do it. Just do it, and you probably make it work. One person at a time, export, do another person, export, do another person, export. But this is after you do the style shots, not before. Don't do the Ebsynth after that. Do the Ebsynth before that point. It's going to be easier for you. I also kind of like wondered like if having the cropping in our shot made it easier or harder in the end, because the quality of the shot is not going to be as blurry as it would be if we had just done it forwards and done it. Because I was actually going to recommend people not do the cropping first if they can help it. But now like wondering if maybe it would like make it cleaner if the shots already had like the zoom in and out, and the stylistic elements of Blender maybe. Stylistic elements of Ebsynth would maybe just clean it up and make it cleaner.
Because sometimes you do a zoom in like iMovie or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It might be better in other programs or more the recent iMovie, which we didn't use. We used our old iMovie.
Yeah.
When you do that, you kind of get like it becomes fuzzier.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens.
Right.
A little less detailed. If you zoom in a lot more.
Yeah.
Or even a little. Just kind of a progression.
Even a little or a lot. If you want to avoid any fuzz at all, you probably should just do the actual motions in real life with the camera. You know what I mean?
Unless there's a better software for that, but I don't know if there is or isn't. So, other options that we don't know about.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if it's like better or worse to have the sort of cropping in first or not. If you guys want to experiment with that, just let me know. I don't know. I'm kind of curious if there's like a problem to kind of do it one way or the other way. Better or worse.
I guess something else I kind of wanted to say was something about how one reason why I think we chose to do Blender the beholders was because we were concerned that it might not work out with Ebsynth.
Yeah, that's right.
You probably could have fixed something out with Ebsynth, but it'd been like we would have been probably having to play with a mask on, and I don't know, it'd be a little awkward. Like, how do we make this work?
Yeah.
And we thought it might a little more kind of a little more realistic, I guess.
Ebsynth is rotoscoping, so you have to act it all out.
Right.
So we had to we were okay, it's pretty easy for us to dress up like human people, like a maid and a person, maybe a rogue or something like that. But it's pretty difficult to kind of be a beholder unless you're willing to kind of go out and make a physical 3D manifestation of that, like a costume. And so we were thinking to ourselves, maybe we could stylize a 3D model made in Blender. Was kind of the initial thought.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it actually seems like maybe we could have done that in a more of a similar way to our other things, but we didn't really know much about that at the time. At first, I mean.
Right.
So we didn't know about the grease pistol stuff until after we at least not a lot about it until like after we had already made the video. And also it's like the first video, so we're just kind of trying to keep it more simple, I guess, that way. It's the first video where you're like using Blender in that way.
You also ended up liking this how it looked also.
Yeah, that's right. It looked okay to us, at least, even though it did seem a little different.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
It's also kind of like
there also were a lot of like variances in the style anyway, so it's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah.
Like you'll go around the corner and like suddenly you'll like see maybe like a little bit of me like looking kind of realistic, but then like with something else happening. Yeah.
Right. The whole thing feels a little janky anyway.
Yeah.
It's like you're starting off in the beautiful mountains. We're going down. At some point, you're in like a forest. And then there's some darkness going on and some weirdness, and then you're like, whoa, where are we at? Whoa, back in the forest, baby. Going up the mountain.
Going up the mountain.
Wind. I don't know, it's really interesting to me, because initially, actually, the whole plan was we were just going to be walking down a road and then like go up a little higher up a hill, like at the end of it. And that was like the initial that was the initial concept. But then I was thinking to myself, I was like, all right, how are we going to do these background shots? Because I kind of wanted the background shots to really be quite good, you know? I wanted them to kind of be like, pretty good. Cause I saw like, in the core record video, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think Sam. Maybe he said something about how like the backgrounds are like so significant, or maybe someone else said it about his backgrounds for the video. But I was like really interested in the background. And I was like, these backgrounds are doing a lot of cool work. I mean, it's not everything, of course, but having a background like work in a certain way can help you a lot. Kind of set a mood or how it synergizes with the shots, you know, or make your shots look better if they aren't that clean.
Distracting the fact that you got like some pink.
Yeah, that's right.
A little.
Yeah. But I went into like Pixel Bay. I don't know, I was just trying to find like background
Is it Pixel Bay or Pixel Bay?
Yeah.
I think it's Pixel Bay. Isn't it Pixel Bay?
I think it's Pixel Bay. I think it is.
Yeah.
Pixel Bay.
Pixel Bay.
.com.
Probably.
Free.
It's probably there.
Free assets. Free audio. Free. A lot of free stuff. Very good. Good stuff. Don't use it though, because if you use it, then you're gonna look like us. And we don't like that. We want to be unique. Also, go to sketchfab.com and don't use the things we used.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
We would sue you for using their stuff.
That's right. like initially, I was just thinking that the first shot would just be us kind of like sitting down on a street, and that we see like a mountain in the distance, kind of a thing, right? And that we might go to the hill by the end of it. I didn't think we'd like go up to the mountain. I just thought we'd like go up a hill, and the mountain would be kind of part of the reason why there would be a hill there. But then I saw the first, like I was like looking at like background stuff, and I was clicking them. And for the first one, I was like, this is like the most beautiful shot I've ever seen. And I was like, how can I make it work? And so that's kind of like what led to this whole thing being very, very different than just going down a street. It's like a whole adventure down the mountain into the valley of death. And ascending again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something we ended up doing to kind of make that work was a lot of still shots, and we just moved it and cropped it, and we used kin burns in iMovie to kind of imitate the kind of idea that we're moving, right? Right. Because for a lot of our shots of our animated bodies, some of them were moving to certain degrees, and some of them were kind of pretty still. Yeah. And we just look more like we're in motion because the background is moving. Yeah. So if you do kind of like want to do something like that, that helps a bit with Ebsynth to keep yourself more still while also having the background move. Would probably help you out a little bit, keeping it clean.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have as much movement.
Yeah.
But you also... Oh, okay.
Sorry, good. No. Good. Okay. Now I'm going to go kind of different also.
I was going to say something about, like, I don't know if you could export a... Maybe you could... Is there, like... there might be a way to export, like, Ebsynth and, like, make it into, like, a PNG sequence or something in the background, but would you have to... Maybe you have to use a different software. But if you had, like, a green screen background, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to get rid of the green screen background and make it to a PNG sequence, you might have more flexibility for, like, how you move it. Yeah. Within space, at least with iMovie. Right. Because if you have like a PNG instead of like a green screen, you can actually like move the characters more, which is basically what we did with the bee holders actually. Yeah. Because they were able to, so they were able to be moved more around the space, which happened more with with your character than mine. Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say the name, but I couldn't remember. There were certain shots. There were certain shots that I was kind of like thinking like, okay, basically I'm just going to have a picture of the bee holder character, a PNG, a single PNG. And have them like leaving a point in the middle that I'm not gonna spoil, but in the end it was kind of like, well, what if we actually had this character kind of going out toward the camera and going by it and being a little more in motion, right? Rather than being still and kind of like going off to the side. And we're kind of like, well, we can't really do that in iMovie, but we can actually really do that in Blender quite easily. We were really quite fortunate to be able to do that.
You know, because we can really have a lot of cool sort of camera shots that would be difficult in other platforms, I would say, using 3D space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's also kind of fun to have having like sun and light aspects you can use to light things up. Because one thing is it kind of makes it look a little more realistic is one thing, but then another thing is you can kind of move those around as well, or have them stay in place if you want.
Right, because
based on how you're moving.
But we're using like the lights within Blender to light up the beholders.
Yeah.
But not like letting apply to like the other things going on. You know, to kind of look lighted up a little bit by the coloring we were doing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess in a kind of way.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yepers. Yepers.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. Normally for the sort of audio, we normally go to freesounds.org. Actually, we were having a lot of trouble with that.
It's kind of funny that you say that's normal, but sorry, what were you gonna say?
Wait, okay. For the sounds that we don't make ourselves,
Yeah, okay, sure.
we normally use freesounds.org to fill out some space.
Okay, right. Well, the thing is, we actually, earlier on, we were basically just using our own music, but at some point we started going like, well, you know, we don't really have like a quick and easy like recording of this to use, so we might like, sometimes we end up using other recordings because like we feel like it fits a little better, or because it's just like, we kind of like it, you know, we hear something, we kind of get attached to it or something, you know, so we sometimes use other people's music, but we also do, you know, we also make our own music and write music and compose music and play music and stuff like that, and record it, and so this particular video ended up just being our music, and that's fun.
Yeah. Though we did use a lot of like sound samples from Pixabay.
Right.
Some snare drums, some toms, some. I am a good music person. You know the one?
I don't even remember.
I think I have like a real one here somewhere, but I actually don't know.
Do you mean you're talking about like a triangle?
No, it's like what do you do when you praise?
Oh, tambourine?
Tambourine, yes.
Yes.
Tambourine samples.
Oh, yeah.
Some cool tambourine roll samples.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I don't praise enough, guys.
Yeah. I feel like that's clear because he's like the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything you do is giving more and more away. That is what you are. I think.
I think a normal human person could also not know what a tambourine was.
Well, I don't think that's true. I knew what it was because I'm human. It didn't take me a moment to go like, wait a minute, what was that?
I think I'm being gaslit right now. Yeah. Man.
So why? So you're talking about like there's a reason why we weren't using other music before?
Oh yeah. Not a reason, but I was just gonna try and give everyone some like ideas and some things, you know, they could use if they want to.
Yeah.
You know, because you can get cool free effects at for Creative Commons 0. There's different Creative Commons aspects, but you can get like different things and find Creative Commons 0 as public domain stuff at freesound.org, which is where we normally go. But once again, it was like down when we were working on this project. Actually,
all right, yeah.
It was like down around the time that we were like, oh man, some free sounds for this section, and it was like, okay, well, what is? We weren't really sure where to go, and then we found something on Pixabay kind of by accident, and we normally use Pixabay for like images and videos for certain things, and the shots we were kind of like, oh, what's this new weird thing? And then we listened to it and we're like, cool stuff, and so we don't, we mixed it in iMovie, and we made it work. Also for Sketchfab, you also would have to sign in. You have to like log in. SoundCloud, sorry. Yeah. For Sketchfab, and also for freesound.org, you have to like sign in. You do have to sign in, but you get some cool stuff if you do that. Sketchfab, you know, I think you can maybe able to buy some stuff there, but there's like a lot of good free assets as well. Yeah, I think so. You might.
I actually think the. I'm pretty sure we didn't actually have to list this in the attributes because I think the what's it called? The foam finger.
Yeah.
I think that was actually free. Yeah. Entirely free.
Sure.
Which is why it wasn't mentioned in our list.
Yeah.
Which thankful, or we're thankful for them for doing that. Because it's like a little easier for us. There's like a foam finger we use for Larry.
Yeah.
Larry. And he had it on his one over here. And then, but so that was a public domain thing. So you could just use it. So that was good. So yeah, that was from that site. So they probably could use. There probably are other things like that if you just find the right things. You could probably do that, and not have to do as much work. You know, attributing people. All right, yeah. Okay. I felt like there's something I wanted to say.
Ooh,
I keep
what?
trying to remember.
Conversations going forward.
I was gonna say I think we used freesound.org for some of our for some of the sounds we end up using, or maybe it was from other sites, but I think it was mainly freesound.org for like for some of the string sounds and things like that for like a recording we did, but we didn't have it. We didn't have it in this video.
That's right.
I think in this video, like the string sounds came for like keyboards or something. Is that right?
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. We synthesized that.
I think this was that, and then we played the horn and flute and some other things as well.
Yeah.
But it was like a mix of like some sounds that we got from like keyboards, and sometimes you can kind of like use we can sometimes use those sort of samples and then put them use our own melodies and stuff and like rearrange them and reshape them and stuff.
Huh.
And we had like a project like that we did the 4-H where we did basically a lot of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But not everything was that way, obviously. Some of them was like us playing stuff.
Huh.
But also, where did we get like the footstep sounds? Because that was like a different website, right?
No, we just got it from Pixabay.
That was Pixabay? Oh, that was Pixabay.
That was Pixabay.
So you also have sounds as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
I feel like a lot of cool sort of variety of footstep stuff we played around with in this one. The crunchy snow sound to like really nice little like little reverse steps on step on something that we don't. I'm not gonna say it, so we don't want to spoil things.
Crunchy footsteps.
You gotta find out for yourself.
Why are there
Look at real human person Julian. They talking about.
Why would there be crunchy footsteps in a story like this?
Why would such crunchy, delicious exist? Only we know the answer. You
Only
can
we know.
also know the answer if you guys check out the video in the comments and the description below, which is we didn't say that yet, but you should. It's probably there.
Yes,
We think it's there,
probably there.
like a real human person would do. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
A real human person is accountable for what they say and what they mean. Isn't that right, Isaac?
I was spacing out, so I don't know entirely what you said, but yes, Joanne, you
I think-
are absolutely right.
I think Isaac made my point.
I was like a little concerned I didn't cover something to enough of a degree, but I didn't want to like. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. I think we did enough. It's okay.
I think I won one. Isaac agreed. Thank you, everyone, for this podcast episode. Now we're 2 people again. It's
like we were.
I mean, it's okay. It's
Never.
alright. You guys like it?
You like
I don't
it?
know. You know what? We're good. We're okay. We're good friends.
Do we need like a musical outro?
Yeah, I'll say that. Please like and comment and subscribe.
Yeah.
Please like and comment and subscribe. Please like and comment. Please share.
Share!
Wait a minute.
Share!
Okay.
Yeah!
Don't get scurvy. Don't get scurvy. Don't get scurvy. Don't get scurvy. Go to YouTube thing and scurvy. Like, subscribe, please. Share with your friends. If you got any. Okay. I think that was whenever I revealed I was the Antichrist. Accidentally.
I think so. It's a good. Finally won one.
It seems like something